come once again to discuss things.
Okay, I don't know if you really liked it or not, but I don't. It's fine. If I would have given it a rating, I probably would have given it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what you'll think of what Steve and I are saying, because we really love it. Anyway, you want to go ahead and get started with this one then?
Yes.
Alright, hi everyone, welcome to the final episode of Geeky Gentleman Fan Film Reviews for Comedy Month. Not the final episode of Geeky Gentleman Fan Film Reviews, we're going strong on that, but Comedy Month is coming to a close, and so I am Sid Part 2, and joining me today is the real Manos, who has picked what?
I have picked Troops, a Star Wars parody of Cops.
Yay. So you messaged me about this one, and you asked if I've ever seen it before, and I said no, and I have no idea how. It's like 20 years old, and it's one of the most popular Star Wars fan films.
It is, and it's one of the early important ones. When we were talking about doing comedy fan films for this month, 2 really hit me as far as suggestions, and they were both Star Wars films, and I had to choose between which one because I didn't want to make all my choices Star Wars fan films. It was this one and Hardware Wars. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh boy, which one do I pick? And I picked this one because it's funnier.
Okay. And, you know, this is weirdly, I don't know what word I want. This is weirdly topical.
It is. Because I haven't seen this one in years. And I don't know where you're going to go, but I'm watching this and like, boy, this is more like Real Cops.
I know. Like, the Jawas start running away and the guy just fucking shoots them and he's like, turned off the camera, and then he comes back and it's like, the Jawas got violent. Happens every time. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, oh, Jesus, this is brutally more relevant.
I know. And, like, that kind of makes it more darkly funny than I think it was originally intended to be.
Correct, yes. I guarantee that.
Back when I was working at Goodwill, I had a friend, CJ, and CJ's black, and, like, it was right at the time when, like, the Mike Brown shooting and everything, and kind of the way to just deal with really, like, sad, disgusting things is through humor a lot of the times. So, like, I'd have a Nerf gun that I'd pull out one of the carts and I'd point it at CJ, and he'd be like, hands up, don't shoot. I'd be like, shoot him, his hands are up! And that was really darkly funny. And so it's kind of like, I kind of get that same, like, really kind of, you know, it's not funny that it happened, but now that it has, how do you just deal with it? And part of just making fun of the awfulness of the world is the way to go for coping mechanisms. And I was kind of getting a similar laugh out of this, which I, again, don't think was intended whatsoever.
I would agree to that, because, like, when this was made, like, you know, we still had a little bit more, especially white America, had a little bit more trust and honor towards cops. I can't remember when this was made. I feel like this was made in
97.
97.
Yeah, I did a little research on this one.
Yeah, this is kind of an important fan film. This is during that period when Star Wars was kind of building back up again, and the special editions were coming out.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were getting all set for the prequels. And, yeah, it does feels like a stronger film when you watch it in 2017. Can't believe it's been 20 years. 2018, excuse me. Can't believe it's been 21 years.
I know, it's crazy. So, like, there's that aspect of it, but then there's just, like, really interesting things I found out about this. I'm just a cursory Google search, but, like, the guy that made this was working at Fox at the time, so he actually got resources from the Cops show to help work on this, like the announcer, narrator, whatever you want to call it, that's in the very, very beginning is the actual narrator from Cops.
Yeah.
That's really crazy. The version we watched was pretty low quality because it's kind of from like early internet days, but they distributed the original film on DVD at like the 97 Comic-Con, but they also on like on some anniversary edition of Cops on DVD, this is a bonus feature, so you can get like a higher quality version of this film. But I don't want to watch a higher quality version of this film because like the kind of garbage quality makes it feel really, really authentic to Cops. And that's pretty cool. One stupid thing that I found while reading through the like background of this is George Lucas has said this is canon. I'm like, no, George, I love you, but you're a fucking idiot. No, this is not canon. Baru does not commit suicide with Owen. No.
I know. Yeah, it's like this is the guy that everyone wants to create fan petitions to bring back.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love the joke that it does tie into the New Hope film, but it's kind of happenstance.
Uh-huh.
Like they didn't kill the Jawas because they were looking for Luke. They just killed them because they're evil assholes.
Yeah, they're just fascists,
And I love the fact, something that just tickles me when I watch this is the Midwestern accent they give the lead trooper.
Yes.
God, that's funny.
He sounds like, what's his name? William H. Macy from Fargo.
Yeah, he sounds like he sounds like a Minnesotan trooper.
Yeah.
Which is great, because that kind of accent lends itself to kind of putting you more at ease. And, it's kind of a friendly accent. And then you put it under the helmet of an evil fascist stormtrooper. It's like, that's really funny. That's really clever.
Yeah, and it just kind of works with, like, the whole, I don't know really what to call it. Passive nature of evil. that like a lot of things in Star Wars play with the idea of like, if you just try to look at things from the average Joe Schmo citizen of the Empire perspective, you can kind of see what the thinking is. It's not right, but you can comprehend the thinking. And so like Jason Aaron's Star Wars comic has Scar Squadron, which is like elite stormtroopers and stuff, and there's one who's like a slave in a criminal Hutt ring, and then the Empire came and freed him, and so he loves the Empire. He joined the Imperial Army, and he looks at rebels as like terrorists. And so like from a certain perspective, or from a certain point of view, from
my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Then you are truly lost, Manos. No, but like from a certain point of view, you can kind of like see where the thinking is, and so it's actually more complex than Star Wars was probably ever meant to be. And so it's really, really interesting to that something back in '97, before we had a lot of the more modern interpretations of the Empire as anything more than just faceless evil, was kind of tapping into just the edges of that. It's just right around the edges. I don't think it's like, I'm not sure how fully aware this fan film is of what it's catching on to at different points, but it's catching on a lot of different things, which is kind of cool.
I remember this coming out. I remember how big of a deal this was, because fan films weren't to the point they are now, so a lot of people were talking about this, and that perspective was definitely like jumped on, like, hey, the everyday lives of these guys in the stormtrooper outfits. They were showing and talking about it. It felt like every comic convention I went to, someone it, or someone had a bootleg of it they were selling.
Yeah, it's really cool that it took off the way it did. You know, and I was looking into the background of this. This is kind of what started the Star Wars fan film competitions and stuff. And that's really great. I remember when Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney, Disney wanted to get rid of or crack down on fan films more, and Lucas fought them on that and said, no, you can't do that. You cannot do that to the fan base. And, you know, say what you will about George Lucas, he actually cares about the fan base. So that was, you know, like, this is kind of created a huge community around Star Wars fan films. And, you know, there's a reason that I put a rule when we started doing fan film reviews that we can't repeat franchises. That's because we do 1 million Star Wars and Batman fan films. Just every week it would be a different Star Wars and or Batman fan film. But, like, you can't blame the fans. They're passionate about it, and they create really great stuff. It's just, I don't want to always talk Star Wars and Batman.
I know, it's difficult. I resisted, but it was like, I can't let this month go without talking about, like, this one or Hardware Wars. And that's one of the things, you know, I poke fun at Lucas a lot, just, despite how important and, you know, what he's done. But one of the things I like is how much he has understood the relationship with the fandom, and the fact that he was wise enough or apathetic enough to just let fans do what they want. And I think that's been, I think that's helped grow the culture, you know, over this generation. Yeah,
definitely. And it's like, it's so cool to see this all come together. This is such just a absolute love letter to fans and the fan base. Like, this is, in a weird way, this is everything beautiful about Star Wars without any of the bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
And that is so refreshing, especially, you know, post Last Jedi, when everything's got to be a goddamn, like, this film ruined my childhood, and just
my glorious childhood of growing up with the prequels.
Yeah, or what the fuck else ever. I'm just like, oh,
Christ. Those wonderful films.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm done. I am so tired of, like, fighting over Star Wars. It's kind of, like, exhausting.
Yeah. Someone had the interpretation that The Last Jedi is a meta commentary on the Star Wars fan base. You got Kylo in the First Order, or the fans who won't let go of anything and just are obsessed with the franchise and like are alienating others. You have Luke, who's like a longtime fan who's become tired and dejected by all of it. And then you have Rey, who's like a new fan trying to show the dejected fan that Star Wars is still cool and beautiful despite the stuff wrong with it. And I'm like, you know, that's not wrong.
I do like that meta interpretation of the new Star Wars films a lot, actually. I think I don't know if it's been confirmed that that's, you know, the influence, but it sure does feel like it from watching these films. And also watching their reactions. Like, the fans who probably are more like Kylo Ren and the First Order are the ones who seem to really hate them.
Yep.
So maybe they were a little bit too on the nose. I don't know. I was just thinking about this today. I was like, man, I can't wait till we skip maybe. I'd love to be able to skip to 10 years from now where we all look back on Last Jedi as a film, and it was interesting that some people did like it.
Yeah. Anyway, to get back to
I'm in the mood
troops.
to jump to that.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, the troops.
Yeah. So one thing I want to make sure we talk about is, like, it's not a big deal now because obviously it's just easier to integrate digital effects, even for low-budget fan films and stuff, but the second this started up and there's a fucking AT-AT and stormtroopers on little speeders, I'm like, holy shit, for 97, that is impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that back in 97. Like, that's really, really good work.
Yeah.
I was really blown away by the technical aspect of this. Like I said, the version we watched kind of looked like shit because of the nature of when it was posted. But damn, if that was not like a perfect tone thing, and it made the effects even look more well integrated and better. It was cool.
It does look wonderful, and I was also impressed with some of the details, like when we got that joke, that great joke of one of the Jawas holding a Tom Servo.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh man, this is gonna love this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm already well familiar with that. Oh, that servo looks really good.
Yeah,
it looks screen accurate to the normal Tom servos. Although those are easy to build if you have the right tools and
it's just a gumball machine, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean those parts are still available.
Mm-hmm. That was really cool. I was really impressed by all the costuming and everything. Like, you know, it's kind of like a dime a dozen now to find a good stormtrooper costume. You can go to any con or just contact your local 501st, but damn if it's not cool as shit to just see those on screen like that being used in this way. It's just fun, man.
Yeah.
The one thing I was disappointed by with this, because he shows up in the intro but he's not in the actual film, I was really hoping to see Boba Fett interact with the troops. God, that would have been so much fun. I was really disappointed he didn't show up in the main event. But the rest of it, oh man, it was cool as shit to see all the stormtrooper costumes, the way they did the speeder integration, like it's not just that it looks very Star Wars. I mean, location scouting is really good too. I can't imagine how much these guys were probably dripping sweat filming all this stuff in an actual desert. But like just little things like it looks very Star Wars, but also looks very cops. Like in the beginning when the one trooper's talking about why he joined the Imperial Army, and they're just on the speeder and he's like looking over at the camera, just like cops when they're in the friggin' car. It's
exactly
too funny. It's too funny to watch it together like that. What do you think of the actors for Beru and Owen?
I thought they were quite good. I guess they have the distinction of being a little bit out of character from what we know of them. But I was impressed with how well they were able to take the characters we've seen and kind of bend them in this direction in a pretty believable way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're kind of just like, you know, rural people, and so, you know, that's kind of a lot of what Cops dealt with, was like, you know, just like people living out in the middle of the country doing whatever the fuck they felt like.
Yeah.
That would be a thing in a lot of Cops episodes. They do a lot of like backwood kind of people from time to time, and so that was pretty funny to see. You know, they're like, hey, you listen to me? You got two options, and yelling and arresting him aren't either of them. Like, that's just it's right out of an episode of Cops, man. It's too good.
I know.
Man.
And it just has me thinking, like, you know, the day-to-day aspects of, you know, ruling the universe, you know, on all these planets.
No, like, dude, I've so thought about that. Like, I want to write a Superman story where, like, someone of comparable power levels to Superman shows up and he just wants to fight Superman, and Superman's like, what do you want to take over the world or something? He goes, oh no, do you know how complicated global politics are? No, I just like fighting people. You have any idea how complex geopolitical issues are? How am I going to deal with that?
Yep. That's one of my disappointments with the Lex Luthor president storyline, was I felt like, yeah, they let that go for like 2 or 3 years, but I'll be honest, I was hoping they'd let that go for like maybe 10 years so we could get like a lot of meat into watching Lex Luthor deal with bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to rule the world in this universe of, you know, DC heroes constantly fighting him. I thought that might have been a little bit more. When they eventually ended that series, ended that storyline, I was like, man, I could have gone for like 5-6 more years of this.
Yeah, it's too bad. So no, the rest of this was pretty good. I was really happy with the way troops just got this all to work together, and it's filmed really well, even though we watched it in poor quality. There are just jokes in here that I really like. Like, they're not singing Bad Boys in the beginning. They're singing Bad Droids.
Yes.
That's funny. It's just funniness. I don't know. What's something else we can talk about this? We need to go for a couple more minutes. Yeah, it's the best part of podcasting, isn't it?
I'm trying to think. Like, we had kind of a few... I had a lot of the things I really like about this film.
Is there any, like, major complaints you have with it?
God, no. I can't even... Outside of, like, Ben and Beru maybe acting a little bit too out of character.
Yeah, and I just kind of chalk that up to that's the humor of it. So I kind of agree with you. I can't really complain about that.
It's a parody, and I don't know. You kind of fight... As a fan, you kind of fight with the logistics of it, where it's like, it's a parody, kind of ease up on it, and then your mind goes, well, this can kind of fit. But wait, this is a little bit too out of character for them. You gotta kind of like break that shit. And I don't know. I piss on like fans for doing that kind of shit too. And you know what? I fucking do it myself.
Yeah, it's just you recognize that version of yourself, don't you?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I need to tap that down.
Yeah, definitely.
just enjoy it.
Yeah. I think for me, like, the biggest complaint I have is this doesn't necessarily age well, at least not in the way it was intended to be funny.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, kind of darkly funny. It takes a much darker twist, and we talked about that at the beginning, but yeah, I'm just like, I was ready for this to be kind of like, oh, okay, silliness, but then, like, when the fucking Jawas start running away and they just shoot him in the back, I'm like, jeez, that's oddly topical, and that's kind of darkly humorous now.
Yeah, a little darker than they anticipated in 1997.
Yeah, who thought killing a character on screen would ever be dark?
Yeah, but expected, dark, kill, but it's still kind of dark funny. But now it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
it's a little too close to the real world.
Yeah, definitely.
Than they were thinking.
So I don't know. There's stuff in here that's like kind of ridiculous, and it's just, I don't know. This is a pretty good one. I was pretty happy with this.
I'm so happy that you like this one.
Oh yeah, totally. It was pretty fun. I guess we'll just call this a shorter episode and go ahead and move on to ratings then, since we don't have much else to say.
Yeah.
I'll go first, and I'll probably give this. I think I'm going to go with 3.5 out of 5 Tom Servos. It's like, it's really good, and I don't have a lot of specific complaints. It's just, generally, this isn't like my favorite kind of thing in the world either, but I still really enjoyed it. So it's got, like, it's losing a couple points just for personal reason kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Tag and Binks.
Okay. All right. Well, Manos, we're done with Comedy Month, and so I was trying to think of what to pick next, and I got a couple franchises in mind, so you're going to help me with my choice, since we need to fill a minute or two anyway.
Of course.
Right?
Let's do this.
Okay, so I got 3 options. One of them involves Poison Ivy.
Okay.
The other involves Calvin and Hobbes.
Interesting.
And the final involves Orion of the New Gods. Which franchise would you rather talk about? Keep in mind, 2 of them are very short, and one of them is still pretty short.
Which is the shortest?
I believe that's the Orion one.
I am interested in Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay.
Because we've kind of recently done DC stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so we'll talk about Reaching Autumn, a Calvin and Hobbes movie. next week, and that's about 15 minutes, or no, 13 minutes. So that's plenty.
That's fine. That's great. Look,
Yeah.
I picked a Batgirl film that was like 6 minutes.
Oh, I know. I was there.
That's right, you were.
Yeah. It's on recording, I think. Anyway, all right, everyone, join us next week for that one. Until then, I'm a victim of circumstance.
And I'm the realist.
And we are your geeky gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.